Well, the Iranian court has sentenced a protester to death in what's been believed to be the first such sentence handed down over nearly 2 months of unrest. Simone Foxman is in Qatar. She's tracking this story. So, Simone, where do we stand on the state of Iran right now?
You know, these protests are ongoing, particularly at universities, and yet the crackdown is intensifying, continuing in the court system. We saw that death sentence. We believe it to be the first death sentence handed down since these demonstrations began. This was tied to what officials call riots, and specifically it was for setting fire to a government building. That was one of the pieces of this charge. We also saw 5 other people sentenced to 5 to 10 years in jail for their participation in the protests. But this is just a few of the sentences and of the charges that we've seen. Overall, we understand some 2,000 people have been charged since September, and human rights groups say some 15,000 people have been detained. You know, we've seen diplomats from Venezuela, from Russia, in Iran, as it continues to lose any access that it really had to other countries in the world. The EU considering more sanctions. But at the moment, we haven't seen sort of a catalyst to either end the protests as they've been going on or to escalate them to a new level. But experts do believe this is arguably the biggest threat to the Iranian regime since the Iranian Revolution in 1979, Manus.
And that sort of, I suppose, spooks some people in terms of the scale of change that may eventually come to bear. Simone, let's talk about the oil market. We have heard from Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman in terms of his caution as he goes to the next OPEC Plus meeting. He's very skeptical about the global economic recovery. But then we caught up with the Iraqi Prime Minister, and he's been speaking to reporters about oil prices at the weekend. What did he have to say?
Yeah, his message is, from Iraq's perspective anyway, we want oil prices high, but not that high. So in particular, Mohammed al-Sudani, the new prime minister in Iraq, saying that they don't want oil prices to exceed $100 a barrel, but they really kind of like where they are, and they're looking for pretty stable oil prices overall as they look at their fiscal picture and the development that they want to do in Iraq. Mohammed al-Sudani also bringing up a desire for OPEC Plus to potentially review the output target that Iraq has, saying that the country has been beset by turmoil, by war, by terrorism for many years, and now is the time to take another look at this target. But we're really seeing an end to some of the political instability that we've seen in Iraq over a long time. Remember, we didn't have a government there for a long time. So Mohammed al-Sudani looking to put forward a budget in the next month, potentially ushering in maybe some certainty where we didn't really have any.
Now, Simone, you're building up to Qatar's World Cup. The whole country is. But this comes down to revenue. My faux pas the last time, of course, you're going to be reporting on Friday. It kicks off on Sunday with Qatar. Ecuador is one of the first games. But FIFA they're just going to blow it out of the water in terms of how much revenue they may well take in. Just put it in context, what size and scale FIFA can earn from this Qatari World Cup.
Yeah, so some great reporting from David Hellier, who says that FIFA is going to exceed the amount of money that it made in Russia 2018, and then it made $5.4 billion in revenue from that World Cup, so it's going to be even higher this time. And the reasons we understand are pre-sold broadcasting rights, the best hospitality year on record, some 240,000 hospitality packages sold, and also the games themselves. As of a couple weeks ago, we had nearly 3 million tickets sold. So shaping up to be a very strong year for FIFA, at least. And they calculate their revenues over a 4-year cycle, where the World Cup really is the key to those total revenues. And they're on track, we understand, to exceed the $6.4 billion in revenue targets from the last cycle. In this cycle, all of this really tied to a World Cup that has been beset by controversy, we should know.